Hello everybody. In this video, we're going to walk through how to get started in Kahoot. So the first thing that you want to do is go to kahoot.com and log in using your Google account. So that's your redlandsschools.net account. And doing that will make it easier for the next time that you come here. You'll be able to sign in with Google again, and it will remember everything for you. Once you get to that, you are going to continue with the free version. And then you should be on what's called your desktop. Here, that looks like the page that I have. Now, mine's a little bit different because this will be your first time getting in. But for me, I've been in here for a while, so things look a little bit different. Don't worry, we'll walk through all of this. I want to start out by going through some of the tabs along the top. The first one is your home tab, where you'll see your information here, and then some of the challenges that you've done in the past. For example, those are things that you will make and push out, and the challenges are things that your students can do on their own. So that's an easy way to find those there. If you are just getting started with it, you can also do some of the demo pieces that they have, and then creating the Kahoot and hosting one. It'll kind of check off the work that you've been doing. As you build collections, you will see them growing here. And then the Kahoots that you build, it will show 3 of them at a time, the most recent that you have been creating. So that's also an easy way to get back to them. But don't worry, because you also have a library tab that we'll get to in a second that will show you another way to get to them. Another important piece is the Discover tab. By clicking that, you will see a way to find Kahoots that have already been made and shared. So there are millions of Kahoots that are out there, and you can make a copy of any of these and edit them and share them with your own class. So the nice thing with this is that you can mix up Kahoots that you find. You can add them together and kind of delete and edit questions as you find them. You can even do a search here, for example, by a standard. So if you were doing a reading literature standard for 3rd grade and you put that in, it will show you all of them that have that as part of their tags or information as part of the title. So you could choose one of those, take a look at it, see if it's appropriate for your own class, and then be able to push that out to your students. They give you some of the popular tags along the top that you could also kind of use as a filtering system to find ones that are just math. Again, suggested filters here that would help to kind of narrow it down because there are so many that are available. So from the filters, you could choose a subject area like language arts and grammar. You could even choose grade 2 if you wanted to, and apply those filters. So now we've got them here, and these would all be Kahoots that you would want to take a look at and see if they're appropriate for your class. All right. When you do find one that you like and you click on it, you will see that you can make it a favorite Kahoot. And by doing that, it has been added to your favorites, and I'll show you where that is in just a second. You also have the option, obviously, to edit it. So by doing that, you could change any of these questions. When I click on it, it's going to tell me that I am not the owner. I need to duplicate it, and then I will be able to edit it. So it makes the duplicate copy for you and then leaves all of the questions the same until you make that change. So simply clicking duplicate, it adds it to the title here. I could always go in and edit that and just make it adjectives again so that I know that it's mine. Change any of this if I need to. There we go. Find the adjective, the brown leaves fall to the ground. I like the image that they've got here. I like the answer choices that they've got here, and I would agree that this would be the correct answer. So nothing to change on this one, but you could go through, you could even change the sentence up at the top, the question that's available or the formatting of it. So there's lots of things that you can do here with these pre-made questions that are already available, or Kahoots, I should say. When you're done with that, simply click Save. And it gives you a couple of options if you want to test out the Kahoot. if you want to play it right now with your students or an audience, or if you want to share it with others. And sharing it with others allows you to share it with other teachers. So you can create a group of teachers in Kahoot and just put it into that group, and then everybody who logs in that is in the group would be able to find it there, or it gives you the option to email it to them as well. So lots of ways to share with your colleagues, which is always nice. I'm going to simply go back here to edit and exit. The other thing that we talked about here is that you can see them all in your library. Right now I'm in the recent section, but as you start saving more and more of them, you'll see that you can find them in your favorites. Remember, we starred that one. It went into both places, but it's nice to know that it's there as well. And then obviously the ones that have been shared with you as time goes on. Another piece that you'll have is being able to see reports. So you can see here all of my quizzes that I've got going on right now. You can see the ones that are finished. I can go in and open them. You have the option of seeing how many players have done them. This one is one of those challenge activities that I created, and I'll show you how to create that in just a second. But know that this one is not the kind that is done in a whole group. This would be a good activity for homework or a station or center that you want them to still go in and do the questions and answer choices, but on their own time. So those are nice ways to kind of push out the same information. And so they have more time to do that one. You also have the groups up here that we talked about a minute ago, and you can create a group by simply naming it. So maybe this is just going to be your English department. You would name it, and then you can put in a description if you want to. So maybe this is going to be your site, and create that. Once you've done that, then you have the option of going to the members. Right now I'm the only member in here, but I can invite others. And I can also set up the settings here. So that's where you can change it if you need to change the title. Let me just show you real quickly as well. You can turn off and on that they can share the content. So putting their own information in here, and they can invite new people or see who else is in the group. So nice to kind of be able to do all of that. All right, so if you are going to be creating one here, you would simply click on the blue button to create. It does give you lots of templates, which are a great way to get started. The only one that is the premium feature is this one with the star. So all of these other ones are a good way to get started on how to build a Kahoot, because it gives you kind of a pacing idea on what kinds of questions you want to put in. But today I'm going to show you how to create from a complete blank. It's very simple. You start out with a question here, and you can just type in what your question would be. And so I'm just going to do holidays. Let me go ahead and title this real quick. Know that you can also put in a cover image. You can change where it's going to be saved to. Again, the language availability is here, making it public and private so that others can find it. You can also change the music so you can listen to it quickly. It's the same tune, just with a little bit different vibe to it. So I'm going to go with the 80s vibe actually for this one. And then you are going to click done, and it will make the save the settings for this one. For each question that you put in, you can put in any media that you want to, and you can choose one image for free. But don't worry, because you can always go in and do an upload of images. So you would just do a Google search for the images that you want and save them on your computer or on your desktop, and then you can upload anything that you want. So since this is a winter holiday, of course I'm going to put in Christmas, just for an easy one, because I know they have a lot of questions here. I'm sorry, images here. It also gives you some suggestions of things that you can use to kind of filter down to find questions if you don't like them. You simply click on the one you like and it adds it for you. You can even crop it if you want to. So you could zoom in if you wanted to make it a little more difficult. When you're zoomed out, you can kind of move it around. You can make it in portrait, obviously, square, and circle. So that's just some fun options that you have with your images. All right, so we've got that one there, and then I'm going to put in my answer choices. And so I would put in Christmas. Let's put in 4th of July. Oops. Valentine's Day. And Mother's Day. All right. And then what you want to do is make sure that you choose the correct answer. Simply put a check mark in that box, and that makes it kind of your answer key. You can also adjust here if you want the time limit to be longer or shorter. And we do recommend, just to kind of keep everybody on their toes, making them all a little bit different. It doesn't have to be every single question different, but you don't want it to always be 20 seconds. If it's a harder question, maybe giving them more time, or if it's a super easy question, giving them less time makes it a little bit more challenging. You can also change points. And you'll notice that it kind of gives them a variety of points. Then you could also double the points, which is fun to do kind of towards the end of your Kahoot. That way, if somebody is really close in the standings, they might try to get those double points and take the lead. Or they listened to all of our feedback from teachers all over the place that said this timing gives a lot of people anxiety. And so if you want to do it with no points at all, and just for fun and use it as a review, you have that option as well. You can do the no points option. I'm going to leave mine here as the standard, and know that for the free version, you only have the option of doing one correct answer. But if you are lucky enough to have a premium version, you can do a multiple select where there might be more than one answer that is correct. Once you have your settings set up for this question, you would simply go to the next one and add another question. You can add a quiz like we just recently did, or a true false. Again, put in your question, add any images if you want to, and then make sure you choose your answer for the answer key. The slide is another option here. Right now, you only have the free version, which is the classic. This is a nice place to add information. So you'll notice it doesn't have any questions or spots for them to pick an answer. It's just going to be almost like a reminder to them. You might want to review something. So for example, if you were talking about holidays, you might talk something about the 4 different holidays, seasons that are on here and when the holidays might be found. So you could put different information on here. It's kind of breaks up the spacing and timing of how the quiz is going. Once you have all of your questions in, you simply click save. This one is going to tell me that I don't have everything completed right now, which is kind of nice, so that you don't accidentally push something out before it's done. You could go back and fix it right now, or keep it as a draft, or simply go back to editing and see the whole thing. So I'm going to go back to edit and just put in, for now, some blank spaces here, just to show you that it is going to allow me to do this. So I'm just going to say real quickly my answer choice. And now when I click save, it tells me that I could go ahead and do it. There are 3 different options here. I could test out this Kahoot. So this is a preview mode for you, which I always recommend just to make sure that it does kind of work the way you planned. You could play now. By doing that, you're going to get the option to push it out in the traditional format where the students are looking on your screen and then they choose the answer on their device. You can assign it as a challenge. This is the one that I said would be good in a center or a station rotation, or even homework, so that the students can do it at any time. They just get a code to be able to go to it, and it's not playing against people at the same time. Or once again, you could practice it here. When you teach this version, you do have some options. It's going to load it up for you. You can do the player versus player in the classic version, or if you're doing teams, you can do it on a shared device. You also have the ability to expand these game options here just by simply clicking the arrow. And you'll see this one is premium, but this one is part of the free, and you can use a friendly nickname generator. So by turning that on, it will come up with a silly name for the students to use if you don't want them to have their own real name, which kind of helps with the competitiveness sometimes. And it will be things like Spotted Zebra or that kind of a nickname that they have. They only have the option to spin the wheel 3 times, and then they kind of are stuck with that last choice. You can also decide to turn off and on this new feature, which allows the questions and answers to be on the player's devices. If you had played this before, you remember that you had to look on the teacher screen or a main screen. And then as a player, they only had the option of seeing the 4 squares with the square, circle, diamond, star in the red, blue, yellow, and green. Or if it was true, false, they only had those 2 options on their screen. Now, by turning this on, they can see the question as well as the answer choices. So that really helps, especially with younger students who have a hard time looking at one screen and then transferring to another. So that's an improved feature. Here's that lobby music again. So you can choose that if you want to change it again, not a problem. You do have the option of changing your order of your answers and questions. So if you think that they're sitting really close to each other and they may be looking over each other's shoulders, that's kind of a good way to make sure that none of that is happening. Showing the instructions again, and then some of the more advanced features that are self-explanatory. Once you've done all of those, then you simply go back to your Kahoot. There we go. And you can play it, like I said, and assign it and push it out to your students. If you are creating this ahead of time, you would be able to go back to your main page called your dashboard. And there it is. You've got your new one under your holidays. Remember that you can always favorite it if you want to be able to find that more quickly. You can create collections. You can create sharing with other groups. There's lots of ways that you can kind of build this. I highly recommend that you get in and use some of the samples in the templates that they've got out there already and get your students used to it, get them excited to play, and give yourself an opportunity to get used to building these questions. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We are here to help you and hope that you and your students both enjoy using Kahoot.